CICO is the way for any type of weight gain, weight loss, weight maintenance, whatever. And the thing is, we like to simplify things, right? We just like to think, oh, CICO, calories in, calories out. It's very simple, right? Yeah. It'd be so nice if both sides were very simple. Like, calories in, it's only about what you eat, right? That's pretty simple. And then calories out, we wish it was simple. We wish it was really simple, just like calories out is your BMR, and then plus some a little bit more stuff. Honestly, just like BMR, honestly, if that was it, nice and simple, that'd be great. But it's not how it is. Right? Calories in is pretty simple, right? It's all about just what you put in your mouth, what you eat. Calories out is not. It has so many factors. One of them I'll be explaining in this video. So perhaps you've tried to lose weight. Maybe you succeed for like a couple of weeks. Alright, it's good progress, right? A couple of weeks. But then your progress stops. And then you wonder, why did this happen? Like you were going good, you were going strong, and then it just suddenly stops. Like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm seemingly doing everything correctly, but my progress has stalled. Of course, this scenario only assumes that, you're doing everything on point. You're actually tracking the amount of calories you're supposed to eat. It's none of this bullshit of like, oh, I'm eating 1,500 calories. It says it. But you're really eating like 2,500. Like, none of that. And this is like being on point. I know the range of calories I'm eating, and I'm supposed to be losing weight. And I have been losing weight for a good 4 or 5 weeks. But now I've stopped. Why did this happen? Maybe you have a bad coach and just says, oh, just keep going at it, just same calorie deficit, supposedly, eat the same calories, and, you'll have to lose weight. But you don't. Maybe 1-2 weeks go by, single pound has not dropped. And that should tell you something. Because you're not progressing. And after a while, maybe you're not progressing, and then you give up. After seemingly good progress, things stop, and then maybe you keep trying. I've certainly kept going for like months. I kept trying, but it didn't work. Maybe you've gone on another cut or another diet, and the same thing has happened. You reach a block once again, and then you try again. You keep trying after that plateau. You keep trying, but you still don't progress. During those cuts where I didn't know what was going on, where I wasn't progressing, I did not understand what was happening. I had no clue. I was clueless. Like, what's going on? And so the cause of this is neat. No, not like keeping things neat. No. Neat as in non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Kind of just bleh. But what it is like your physical activity that doesn't really count as exercise. Like, when I'm moving my arms around like this, would you say that's exercise? No, not really. Like, if I'm like waving to other people, like, oh. Then if I'm like moving my arms all around, if I'm pacing around the room, if I'm tapping my feet, or if I'm like tapping my hand or somewhere, does that count? Not really. Surely it doesn't count as exercise. And that's what NEAT is. NEAT is comprised of like these things that we do. These are small things. Right? Like, you don't really think about how many times you tap your foot, how many times you move your arms around when you're talking, your hand gestures. You don't really think about that. But it really adds up. Like, it adds up a lot. Well, first of all, you can burn 50 more calories each hour if you have like increased NEAT to a certain point. And if you stay awake for 16 hours in a day, 16 times 50 is 800 calories. 800 calories. Like, what? 800 more calories burned, potentially, if you had like the maximum NEAT. Realistically, could you get 50 calories burned more each hour? Probably not. Unless you were just like hyper all day. Like, I think that you had to be like standing, you had to be like tapping your feet, you had to be waving your arms around like all day basically, and it's not likely to happen. I mean, certainly you can probably do it a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, but not consistently for like months or years. It doesn't need to be sustainable, right? Like, if you're just doing it during your cut, that's all you need, really. On the flip side, when you're in a calorie deficit, your NEAT drastically decreases. Right? So you stop using a lot of hand gestures, you stop tapping your foot all the time, and this decreases your NEAT substantially, to the point where, at a certain point in the cut, you lose progress, and for seemingly no reason. You're eating the same amount of calories, supposedly in a calorie deficit, but you're not losing weight, and it's because of NEAT. Your NEAT has decreased so far that the amount of calories you're supposedly burning is now 0. So what do you want to do on a cut? You want to raise your NEAT back up. You want to increase these gestures, your foot tapping, your pacing, whatever. If you can keep your NEAT relatively the same as you cut, that'll make your cut so much easier. Right? Like, you don't have this extra factor that's against you. Right? You don't have this extra factor that comes out of nowhere and just swings a bat at your head, and then you just go flying. Like, you don't have that anymore. Instead, you're using it to help you. And that's also why the best fat burners, like the illegal ones, do this, basically. The best fat burners make you extremely jittery. Right? They make you so jittery that you need to move around. You need to move so much, because you're just so full of just jitteriness, and you're so full of energy that you need to do something. And you couple that with appetite suppressants, and bro, it's coming off. Like, the fat is going to come off. So speaking theoretically is all nice and good, but practically, how do I increase NEAT? To be honest, it's pretty hard to do so naturally without any substances, and a lot of the time you just need to be conscious of it. You just need to think, you need to notice that, am I moving enough, essentially? Like, am I moving my arms enough? Am I tapping my foot enough? As compared to when I wasn't cutting. Right? You want to compare yourself to when you were not in a calorie deficit. And that will give your standard. And if you can notice this happen, you can then change it. You can then make yourself be more jittery. You can make yourself move more. I mean, certainly, I don't think it'll be the same. It won't be the same as when you're not in a calorie deficit where your NEAT is not affected, but you can certainly still boost it up. So for some examples is that, you can just move around with people, right? You can just when you're talking to someone, you can just keep tapping your foot. You can use your hand gestures, You can also take the stairs. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Okay, I don't take the stairs now. Okay, I could probably take the stairs. Walking more. I'm not walking as much. Maybe I could walk more. Maybe, yeah. So the best way is really to just notice. Am I moving enough? I mean, another one is just using stimulants. Stimulants are basically just an easy way out, but they won't really resolve anything. I mean, stimulants, of course, will make you more jittery and therefore make you move more, but you have increasing tolerance. You need to take more and more to get that same effect. And it also affects your sleep. Sleep is so important on a cut. If you want to burn calories the next day, and if you don't sleep well, you are not going to move. Your NEAT is going to be so down in the gutter if you don't sleep well. So you better sleep. So still, stimulants are not the best. They become something that you need to depend on. And that's a substance. And at the end of this, I have a however warning. No matter what you do, no matter how many calories you burn with NEAT, with whatever, it is still infinitely easier to eat way too much. It's still infinitely easier to eat way too many calories to not be in a calorie deficit. So at the end of the day, if you can eat more, and surely you can eat more than you burn, it's extremely easy to eat more. NEAT is not the end all be all. It's not all important. Of course, what you eat is the most important. But NEAT is something that will help you extremely well.